there. Good morning. Good Tuesday morning to you. I'm Heather Brown. This is the CBS News Minnesota Morning Update. So let's get you ready. Let's get you ready to go for the day. You're getting started on that week with a nice start to this week for early October. All right, look at that. 76 degrees. I think the average right now, the average high is normally in the low 60s. So enjoy that warmth, Riley tells us. The bottom will drop out for those of us who like this sort of second summer right now on Thursday. But today, get outside. Just take advantage of this if you're trying to get some of those last days of warm weather. Yep. Early October, we know it doesn't feel like Christmas time quite yet, but we are already starting to talk about the holiday season. We're talking about Christmas trees because it turns out, like a lot of other things, it's going to cost you more this year. This should come as a surprise to absolutely no one. Christmas tree farms say that shoppers can expect to pay more. One survey actually said that 71% of tree farms said they would have to raise prices. I mean, think about it. Labor costs, costs of fertilizers and just planting goods and supplies. It's hard. It's going to be up 15 to 20%, they say, from the holidays just 1 year ago. The good news, though, here is they don't really expect shortages. They say this year's harvest looks good. And when you think about Christmas trees, I mean, they can take 7 to 10 years to grow. So even if you do have these weather conditions or drought, you're going to be able to have these trees, even though we haven't had the best conditions for growing and planting over the past 2 summers there. So it's just going to be more expensive, but there'll be plenty of them out there. But that brings us to the question, do you go real or fake? Real or faux? Real or permanent, right? Where do you think, there's always these debates here, right? What's more environmentally conscious? What's going to save you money in the long run? We are real tree 100% all the time. We go down, we have a tradition, a family tradition. The 5 of us will go to the tree farm in Ramsey. We'll cut it down. We wouldn't think otherwise of doing that. Now, thankfully, we don't have any allergies in our house. Our dog's pretty good about the real tree. And we're all pretty good about watering it. But I know everybody's different. There's some people that are just on team faux tree. But I'd love to know what you are, and tell us why. Tell us why you love the real, if you like the fake. Even tell us about the lights. Do you like the multicolor? Do you like the white lights? Do you like a million different decorations on your tree? If you are watching on Facebook, leave a comment here and we'll read through some of those coming up in just a moment. We do, though, want to get to your hot top headlines this morning. That's because more than 130 mental health workers from Allina, they will be back on the picket lines today. It's day 2, part of a 3-day strike. They're asking, they say, for a fair contract. Also new this morning, M Health Fairview. They have reached a tentative deal. They reached this overnight with a new contract with mental health workers. So the mental health workers there had originally voted to strike, but then they had pulled back because they said that progress was being made. This tentative deal, this new one, coming after a marathon 12 hours of negotiating. So they tell us this new contract is for a year and a half, has immediate 6% wage increase, and then an added 2.75% in March for all workers. There's also increased paid time off, as well as new initiatives to address staffing concerns. The union says that this is the largest single-year wage increase the health system has offered in years. Meanwhile, though, over at Allina, the mental health workers there say that they are at a standstill with their negotiations.
We are here because we are fed up with the greed at Allina Health, where Allina Health has said they're going to put profits before patients and before our livelihoods and our safety. We're sick of it.
So Allina Health said to us in a statement, saying in part, while we have reached agreement with the union on most non-economic issues, including many workplace safety items, the union continues to push for wage and benefit increases that are unrealistic and unsustainable at a time when Minnesota health systems are facing significant financial challenges. Now, Allina mental health workers, they will be outside Allina Unity Hospital. It's in Fridley for day 2 of the strike. That'll begin at 10 o'clock this morning. Allina also saying, though, if you do have a scheduled mental health visit, you should still go to that appointment. Also happening today, a Chicago man will learn his fate for murdering a father in a fit of road rage. You may remember Jay Boughton was killed in the summer of 2022. He's a youth baseball coach. He was driving on Highway 169 in Plymouth with his 16-year-old in the front seat next to him. And Boughton had honked and gestured at another driver, but then bullets flew into their car and they'd crashed. A few months ago, a jury had determined that it was Jamal Smith there that had pulled the trigger. A judge will sentence him this morning, and we will have a camera in the courtroom. Be sure to watch WCCO for updates. We'll also be streaming on CBS News Minnesota. And then in just a few hours, 2 former Minneapolis police officers who were convicted in the death of George Floyd, they will lose their freedom. J. Alexander King and Tu Tao are expected to surrender to federal marshals. That is expected to happen today at 11 o'clock this morning. In July, a federal judge had sentenced Tao to 3.5 years, sentenced King to 3 years, this for the federal charges of violating Floyd's civil rights. Now, as Derek Chauvin had pinned Floyd's neck to the ground, King had held Floyd's back. Tao was the one who had kept back the bystanders. Chauvin and the 4th officer involved, Thomas Lane, they are already serving their sentences. Now, both King and Tao, they are scheduled to go on trial for the state charges, the separate trial of aiding and abetting both murder and manslaughter, and that is scheduled to start later this month. We have learned that the top cop position in St. Paul is now down to 5 candidates. Now, these are the 5 finalists, according to Mayor Carter, Dr. Jacqueline Bailey Davis. She's from Philadelphia and the police department there. All the rest, though, come from inside the St. Paul Police Department. So there's Unit Commander Pamela Berrigan, Senior Commander Curtis Hallstrom, Commander of Narcotics Axel Henry, and current Assistant Chief of Police Stacy Murphy. There will be 2 public forums that'll be held next week, and the mayor says that he encourages the community to send in their feedback and be sure to ask questions. So that hero pay, the hero pay we've been hearing about all summer long, well, the bonus checks will actually start hitting the bank accounts tomorrow. And they're going to give it out to more than 1 million Minnesotans. The money's going to be less than they originally thought it was. They thought it would be $750, but sounds like it'll be closer to $485 as a bonus for their work during the pandemic. That's just because so many more people had gotten this bonus pay than they had anticipated. The direct deposits will start rolling out tomorrow. The paper checks, they would arrive in 4 to 6 weeks.
I think it's going to be great for people. I know that, it's not what everyone thought how much they would get, but I think it's better than nothing.
So here are the numbers. The state had originally estimated about 650,000 Minnesotans would qualify for that hero pay, and that would have been that $750. But the state, many more had applied than that. More than 1 million got it, but they say they did deny nearly 200,000 applications. Let's talk about bird flu because it is back in Minnesota, which could have an impact on turkey prices this Thanksgiving. There's new data from the American Farm Bureau Federation. It found that the price for a pound of skinless, boneless turkey breast more than doubled in September from last year. So it's now close to $7. Professionals with the Minnesota Board of Animal Health, they are watching this bird flu closely. They say that most of the cases have been found in commercial turkey flocks, but there have been some reported in backyard flocks. There was a brief lull this summer, but now 18 new cases have been reported as more of those migratory birds are making their way across our state.
We were fully expecting that we would start to see cases again in the fall. It did come up in our domestic poultry populations earlier than we had anticipated.
So experts aren't predicting a shortage of turkey this year, but it just means, like your Christmas trees and like everything else, it's going to cost you more. So one of the largest hotels right here in the Twin Cities could soon face foreclosure. There's a new report that says the lender behind the Hilton Hotel in downtown Minneapolis, yep, our neighbors right across the street, that they will start foreclosure proceedings next week. But the real estate company that owns the Hilton told the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal that foreclosure is unlikely. So we know that hotel property values tumbled when the pandemic froze travel. Minneapolis Downtown Council says that hotel occupancy remains below 60%. So have you tried getting your new driver's license lately? Yep, it can be a long process, but there are now 2 spots in Minnesota that will have your new ID ready the very same day. It's all part of a new pilot program that's been authorized by the state. So both the Dakota County License Center, the one in Lakeville, and the DMV in Moorhead, they can sell you driver's licenses over the counter, meaning that you don't have to wait for it to come in the mail. This program will last through June. And perhaps you're maybe looking to make a little extra money today on WCCO 4. Today at WCCO News at 4, so 4 at 4. Just watch it, 4 o'clock in the afternoon here on Channel 4. Jeff Wagner is going to be talking about if your day job's paycheck isn't cutting it, then some people are looking outside that 9 to 5.
Even if the income streams may be small, and they're not quite to the point where they're, paying the rent, paying the mortgage, replacing the day job salary just yet. But it allows me to kind of scale up and recognize like, okay, that wasn't for nothing.
So maybe you want to start a side hustle. So what do you do? Where do you start? We've got you covered. Jeff exploring 4 easy side jobs to start with, and then he learns how to lay out a plan to start earning more cash. If you want to see that story, you can join Jeff and Aaron every afternoon, the 4. It's every weekday, right here at 4 on Channel 4. Get it? The 4. We got it. Cool. Watch it. We wanted to take a moment now to share some really exciting changes that we have coming for this show right here, our morning update. So starting tomorrow, the morning update, it's going to run exclusively on our streaming service, CBS News Minnesota. It's going to be easy to get there. Also have a new start time, so we're going to start earlier, give you even more than you have right now to go straight from our morning newscasts. So that does mean that we will stop the Facebook live recordings, but please don't worry, you can still watch us. It's still as easy as ever to find. All you have to do, go to our website, WCCO.com. You can get there every morning at 7 now. You can watch live. We'll be doing all this same stuff, but even more. AJ and I will be chatting about life. We'd love to hear from you because there's new ways for you to interact with us, to give us your feedback. Again, all of this starts tomorrow. So if you're used to this 7:30 time, join us earlier. We'll have even more stuff for you. You just go to WCCO.com, and we cannot wait for you to join us in this brand new chapter of the morning update. But first, we're going to get back to today's talker because we want to know what you were saying about your trees. Christy says artificial, multicolored lights, and a sentimental variety of ornaments, including homemade ornaments the kids made. Isn't that the best? We even have homemade ornaments that my husband made when he was little. They're so great. I love them. Lavelle, I like the fake tree. If I would get the real tree, I would have to do a lot of vacuuming. That is correct. That is correct. It works better if you are doing a lot of watering of the tree. Those trees are thirsty. Jen, we always go as a family and cut down our own every year, right? Isn't that fun, Jen? Many memories, and the fresh smell is amazing. Thanks everybody. Thanks for sharing. Really fun to be with you here today. That is your morning update from CBS News Minnesota. Great to be with you. Thanks for watching. We will see you back here tomorrow.